It was made very evident in the conclusion of the second season of House of Dragon that Alicent Hightower is one of the many sad personalities that exist within the Game of Thrones universe. Despite the fact that the Green Queen plays a significant part in the Dance of the Dragons that is portrayed in George R. R. Martin's Fire and Blood, the HBO show has made Alicent an even more prominent character in the plot. The story of the dance is told by House of the Dragon as the tale of two best friends who once loved each other but lost themselves as a result of a sense of obligation that was placed on their shoulders. This is in contrast to the traditional narrative of a civil war fought by half-brothers. Rhaenyra embraced the burden that was given to her by her father, especially after King Viserys informed her about Aegon the Conqueror's dream. Rhaenyra had never desired to sit on the Iron Throne, but she took the obligation nonetheless. In the same vein, Alicent's sole objective was to save her family and fulfill her duties as a wife and queen after her father had exploited her as a political tool and she had married Viserys. It is debatable who exactly is to blame for the Dance of the Dragons. Nonetheless, the fact remains that Alicent was the one who groomed Aegon to be Rhaenyra's opponent in the succession of Viserys. A self-fulfilling prophecy was created as a result of Alicent's worries that Rhaenyra would be required to kill Aegon. She assumed that Aegon would never be safe as long as the realm was uncertain about who should succeed Viserys, despite the fact that Alicent did not appear to be very pleased about her son's ascension to the Iron Throne. Even in the event that Rhaenyra were to become queen, Alicent was concerned that Viserys' daughter and those who supported her would continue to view Aegon as a potential danger. The fact that Alicent and Rhaenyra's relationship had never been the same after Viserys' second marriage, in addition to the growing tension among their children, only served to make Aegon's mother more apprehensive about his future. Everything became much more difficult as a result of Alicent's incorrect interpretation of Viserys' final words. Immediately after Sir Criston Cole bestowed the crown of Aegon upon him, the latter became Rhaenyra's foremost adversary. As a result of Otto's hushed statements and her own worries, Alicent came to the conclusion that the only way for Aegon and his brothers to be protected was for him to sit on the Iron Throne. On the other hand, in the process of preventing Rhaenyra from killing her children, Alicent ended up encouraging her former best friend to take action because she felt it was necessary. Even in the event that Rhaenyra did not harbor any personal animosity toward any of Alicent's children, including Aemond, she would still be required to eliminate at least Aegon in order to bring an end to the conflict. It is highly possible that Aegon would have been safe regardless of the fact that there were some dissatisfied lords if the Green Council had never attempted to overthrow Rhaenyra's kingdom. For a number of years, Aegon has considered Rhaenyra to be his adversary. Alicent struck young Aegon and told him that he was Rhaenyra's adversary and that he ran the possibility of being killed by her supporters. This occurred prior to the most significant time skip that occurred in the first season of House of the Dragon. Alicent responded that it did not matter because he would be viewed as a threat regardless of whether or not he attempted to steal her crown. Aegon responded that he would not attempt to steal her crown. Consequently, this resulted in a self-fulfilling prophecy in which Alicent, in her efforts to safeguard Aegon and her other children, forced them to participate in a conflict. Immediately after Sir Criston Cole bestowed the crown of Aegon upon him, the latter became Rhaenyra's foremost adversary. In the novel Fire and Blood, Alicent is a considerable amount older than Rhaenyra, whereas in the novel House of the Dragon, the two of them had been great friends ever since they were children. In the event that the Hightowers had not made their attempt to seize Rhaenyra's throne and crown Aegon instead, it is difficult to speculate on what might have transpired with the situation. There were rumors going about the realm that Rhaenyra's sons were a bunch of scumbags, but anyone who brought it up would be punished in the same way that Vaemond Valerian was. There would have been no need for an immediate war to be fought over the succession, but any of Alicent Hightower's children would still be possible dangers to Rhaenyra, depending on whether or not they or their sons would ever stake a claim to the throne. The crowning of Aegon, regardless of the circumstances, made reasons for permitting Rhaenyra to kill Aegon following the conclusion of House of the Dragon Season 2. Helaena is in danger, and Alicent has given up all hope of rescuing her. The contentious choice that Alicent makes in the final episode of the second season of House of the Dragon makes perfect sense when viewed in the context of the program. Alicent made an effort to be a decent mother, despite the fact that she admitted that Darren was fortunate to be raised away from her, and all of the toxicity that was present in the capital. Both wars and deception were on the table. One time, Alicent was under the impression that, in contrast to Aegon might be persuaded to change his mind, and that the violence could have been avoided. In spite of this, both sides of the conflict came to the realization that there was no turning back following a string of incidents involving an eye for an eye and a son for a son. In light of the fact that Aegon is in pain and is still in danger of passing away as a consequence of a battle that Alicent urged him to avoid, and that Aemond is willing to put Helena's life in danger if it means winning the war, Alicent has completely given up hope. For the time being, her sole objective is to acquire Helena and escape from the agony and distress that have characterized her life for a considerable amount of time. In the third and last episode of the second season of House of the Dragon, Rhaenyra makes it quite plain that Aegon will have to be put to death regardless of what Alicent done. With the hope that she may preserve Helena at the very least, Alicent decided to hand over Aegon.